Hi, year 8, Mr. P's here. You know the drill by now. This is week 12, lesson 1. So the next 4 sessions are going to be all about focusing on core skills in English, starting with Memory Monday, recapping on the core skills we've been working on recently, followed up with reading of a text, development, and a bit of creativity and consolidation at the end. So recapping on sentences and punctuation today. Okay, so we're going to think about these things in a little bit more detail. First of all, just to let you know that what we focused on over the last 12 weeks was SIR, plurals, Y's to IES, tricky words, huge range of vocab, the SVO structure, sentence parameters, using metaphors and mastery of punctuation. What we're thinking of today is a big recap on what a sentence is. After that, we're going to focus again on some of the comma rules, okay? Because if we absolutely secure and master these fundamentals to English, we're going to be so much better at English. Okay, so first of all, mastery of sentences. So, a reminder. A faux sentence needs a subject, a verb, and an object, okay? Subject, the person, place, or thing carrying out the action. The verb is the action that's taking place. The object is the thing to which the object is carried out. An example being, the man opened the door. The man is the subject, the action is opened, and door is the object to which the door, the verb, the action is happening to. So, first things first, all the answers will be at the end of this session. First things first, remember the rule? Faux sentence needs a subject, a verb, and an object. Which of these 5 are full sentences? Number 1, the white spotty dog. Number 2, the bear defended its cub. Number 3, he skipped to the park. Number 4, a red pen. Number 5, first thing in the morning. Okay, pause the video now. Have a little go at that. You can either write down the full sentences or write down the numbers that they are. Okay, so just focusing again on verbs. So the verb is the action that takes place, okay? So write down the verbs in the following sentences. 1, the rain poured for 10 hours. 2, Barry smiles a lot. 3, tourists destroy natural habitats by walking through them and scaring the animals. 4, journalists usually print their articles in newspapers and magazines. And 5, many people in cities rely on public transport. So, cheeky clue, that some of them, well, one of them, has more than one verb. Good luck. Pausing the video now. Okay, answers for those at the end, guys. So next, I've chosen certain groups of types of sentences. Commas for when, commas for where, and commas for although, unless, if. I've bunched them all together here with a series of short recap activities because actually, fundamentally, the rules are the same. You know, there's that big focus on if you start with the when, the where, the although, unless, or if, you put a comma at the end of it. And if you end a sentence with those things, you don't need a comma, okay? So remind us slightly more precisely. Here's the rule for punctuating when it happened. When you start with when it happened, you put a comma after when it happened. Okay, the team scored the winning goal in the last minute. However, if you were to start with when it happened, in the last minute, comma, you'd need that comma after the when it happened. The team scored the winning goal. Ishrat relaxed after a long day at work. However, if you put the when it happened to the front, after a long day at work, comma, Ishrat relaxed, so on and so forth. Okay, so with that in mind, what I'd like you to do is remember to rewrite those 4 sentences there and add a comma if it is needed. Okay, so remember when you start with when it happened, you put a comma right after when it happened. The other rule is you don't use a comma if when it happened is at the end. So number 1, at 5 o'clock the shopping will be delivered. Number 2, Steve waltzes with Rita every Saturday. How lovely for Steve and Rita. Number 3, on a Wednesday morning all the dogs mysteriously bark. Peculiar, hey? Number 4, when Nigel lost his watch, Trevor helped him look for it. Okay, pause the video here, rewrite the sentences, add the comma if it is needed, answers at the end. Okay, so moving on from when to where. So, similar rule as I alluded to before, guys. When you start with where it happened in a sentence, you put a comma right after where it happened, okay? I.e., at the front of the classroom, you will hand in your essays. So, the notion being there that because the where it happened is at the front of the classroom, you put your comma at the end. The other second rule is when you end with where it happened, you don't put a comma before where it happened. I.e., Amir laughed hysterically in front of James. The in front of James is where it happened, but you don't need a comma before it because it's at the end of the sentence. Over to you guys. Rewrite and correct the misplaced commas. So slightly more of a challenge here, really, because actually there are commas in all of these and not all of them are correct. Okay? Rewrite and correct the misplaced commas. In the classroom, the teacher smiled, comma, at the students. Number 2, Jeremy laughed, comma, in front of Benny. Number 3, behind, comma, the boat shed, comma, there lived a terrifying monster. Number 4, Amir grinned next to, comma, his friend Malcolm. Right, pause the video here, rewrite them, and correct the misplaced commas by either removing them, changing them, or moving them. Alright, answers at the end. Final one, guys. So, although, unless, or if work the same way as when it happened and where it happened. So if the part that starts with although, unless, or if is at the start of the sentence, it is followed by a comma. So if you begin your sentence with although, unless, or if, you follow that with a comma. An example being, although the sun was shining, comma, it was still quite a cold day. Just like when it happened and where it happened. But the same rule also applies the other way. You don't put a comma before the part that starts with although, unless, or if it is at the end of the sentence. Example, it was still quite a cold day, although the sun was shining. No comma needed there because it's at the end, the bit that begins with although, unless, or if. Alright. So, 4 sentences here. What I'd like you to do is rewrite and add in the commas if needed. Although it was raining, they still danced outside. Number 2, Betty knew it was all over unless she could come up with a plan. Number 3, if Gloria didn't harvest the courgettes, soon they would rot. Number 4, Pretty was unsure what to do, although she knew she had to do something. Alright guys, so pause the video there, rewrite those and add in the commas if needed. Alright, so I appreciate that was a bit dry guys, we'll go for the answers in a minute, but securing those core skills are an awesomely fundamental part of being wonderful at English. So, want to do more? Still got a bit of your 30 minutes left. Check out the daily lessons for Year 8 on BBC Bite Size. There's a link here. Okay, so answers. First one, full sentences. Number 2 and 3. The bear defended its cub. Bear, subject, defended, verb, object, cub. He, subject, skipped, verb, object, park. All the rest are not full sentences because they're missing one of the 3 SVO parts, or more than one of them. So, number 2, the verbs, poured, smiles, destroy, walking, scaring, print, and rely. Alright, well done if you got all of them, particularly in number 3. Okay, now on to the commas. Okay, add a comma if it is needed. So for number 1, you need a comma after at 5 o'clock because you've started with when it happened. Number 2, you don't need a comma. Number 3, on a Wednesday morning, because that's the when it happened, yeah? You need a comma. Number 4, when Nigel lost his watch. Again, that's the when it happened, so you need a comma after that. Okay, moving on to the answers for where it happened. Okay, rewrite and correct the misplaced commas. So the commas should go as follows. Number 1, in the classroom, comma, the teacher smiled at the students, because that's the bit we started with where it happened. You need a comma after that moment. Jeremy laughed in front of Benny, didn't need a comma at all. Behind the boat shed, you remove the comma after behind, because that's not quite finishing where it happened. Behind the boat shed, comma, there lived a terrifying monster. You kept that one in after boat shed. Number 4, doesn't need a comma. Amir grinned next to his friend Malcolm. And finally, the although, unless, or if. So, rewrite and add in the commas if needed. Although it was raining, comma, you did need one there, they still danced outside. Should have put my full stop, but they're naughty. Number 2, Betty knew it was all over unless she could come up with a plan. Doesn't need a comma, but of course we all hope Betty comes up with a plan. Number 3, if Gloria didn't harvest the courgettes soon, comma, they would rot. Very important to harvest those courgettes. Don't want them rotting, what a waste. So, number 4, Pretty was unsure what to do, although she knew she had to do something. No comma needed for that one either, because the although, unless, if is at the end of the sentence. Okay, well, good luck, guys. Hope you succeeded marvelously there. See you tomorrow.